So today is about developing self-awareness. It's going to be about the practical things. What's it like to move into university accommodation, particularly for anyone doing that. A little bit about social skills, time management, and what to do when you're not feeling confident. But I've got a picture to get us started today, and it's going to be our way of introducing the panel, really. It's a picture of someone kind of maybe they're about to do a parachute jump or whatever, but they're hanging high in the sky. And at one level, we've got that feeling of being in the sky and the thrill of that. But at another level, crikey, it's quite terrifying being up in the sky and feeling that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around my panel members, the panel members we've got today. I'm just stop sharing for a moment. And I'm going to get a sense of when were the times, sorry, just do that. When were the times from the students, first of all, we've got some students with us. When were the times in your university early on, your university career, where you felt you were flying high and it was great? And when were the times when maybe it wasn't so great? And what did you do about that? So with that in mind, let's introduce you first of all to a couple of current students. So Miranda, do you want to go first and tell us a little bit about what you're studying and a time when you felt it was great and a time when it was challenging?
And I'm Miranda. I'm a second year student. I'm studying international business management. A time where I felt I was flying was probably the first 2 weeks when there are many events around uni and you meet a lot of people and everything's kind of new. And a time where I struggled a little bit was when I had to balance my studies along work, which was also new to me, so I didn't know how to navigate that.
Hey guys, I'm Piyush. I'm a second year student. I'm studying artificial intelligence. So that sounds like I know a lot of stuff, but I actually don't know. I'm confused as well. Yeah. So the first time I felt high was when I actually left my home and I took the first flight like independently. So I had a layover at Dubai. I explored Dubai and then came to London, came to Oxford, settled in my accommodation. I was feeling the rush and then I started feeling low because of the homesickness. So
Mhm.
that's when I started feeling really low. And then I started making friends, and that's how you overcome the homesickness. That's it. You just try to find a home here now.
So you came then as an international student. So what were the particular challenges of that then? Did you find was there a bit of culture shock? How was it adapting to Oxford?
Yeah, so the first main concern was the culture shock because everything closes here so early today. So that's so concerning because I came in on a Sunday and I was just at the university and everything was closed and I was like, wait, that's just only 8 right now, 8 p.m. That shouldn't have been happening. And then I slowly got used to it. So now after like 5:30, I'm like, okay, the shops are closed, so I can chill out at home, relax.
So also joining us today, we have a number of people from kind of various support services around the university, and I'm going to just get a sense of same sorts of questions, really, the things that you see as causing people to have the kind of high moments, but also what kind of support you offer, maybe in the lower moments as well. It's good to know what's available. So if I can go around the room on that one, I'll just go in the order on my screen. So Kate, you're up first.
Hello, I'm Kate. I'm the University Chaplain and Pastoral Care Lead. I'm in my uniform today, wearing my clerical collar. I don't always. Although my work is partly that I'm a Christian minister, the chaplaincy is for everybody, and I and all of my colleagues are open to everyone. So I always wear it for induction events so that you know who I am and don't have a surprise later, but it doesn't reflect on the support you're offered. I think that what has already been said by Piyush and by Miranda is probably what a lot of students experience. I think what is sometimes underestimated is culture shock you can experience from within the UK. It can be quite difficult if you find that your accent maybe marks you out as different. Or I came up to Oxford from London and blithely went out to buy something, probably from Blackwell's, at about 6 o'clock one night and realised that outside of London, shops are not still open at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or sometimes even 10 or 11, which was an interesting time to be working in a bookshop. So Yeah, I think don't, even if you're listening to this as a home student, don't imagine you're going to land with both feet and everything's going to feel very familiar. It may be surprisingly unfamiliar. Um, and when things are feeling a bit iffy, there's lots of things we do in chaplaincy. Some of it is just that we offer social groups. So on a Wednesday lunchtime or a Monday evening, you can come in and meet other students, and Wednesday is a craft group, Monday is an international student social, Thursday is a conversation group. There's lots of things going on that are not particularly structured around anything other than giving you an opportunity to meet one another. More formally, if you need somebody to speak to, as I said, all of the chaplains are open to everybody, and you can access us through student support services. And that can be anything from your housemate stealing your milk and making you feel a bit isolated and alone, all the way to bereavement, homesickness, or feeling like you might be struggling with the early stages of anxiety or depression. We're, as I say, open to everyone.
Thank you. It's quite interesting, that point about, taking time to stop and have a cup of tea and that sort of thing, and how a useful tool that can be anyway about adapting to life at university, and those shared cups of tea and shared kitchens and things, if you're in university accommodation, are really useful. We've also got joining us today from the Students' Union. We've got Kofi and Kaz.
Hi guys, I'm Kaz. I'm the VP of Activities and Employability. I just graduated and I did law and criminology for 3 years at Brookes. Basically, the student unions kind of we kind of help with the student voice. So we hold things for students. We're like the kind of the first point of call for anything students want to do, societies, activities, all those things. That falls under my remit. But the union kind of works with, for example, the Centre for Academic Development. So if students come to us with problems, we can like push them in the right direction, like direct them to who they need to talk to.
And Kofi, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, I'm Kofi, Union President, and Kaz has said most of what we do. Making friends isn't easy for everyone, and if you just check out our page, or just to stay updated to what we're doing, you can just pop up. We've got freshers coming up, and if you're feeling a bit nervous, you're not doing freshers right if you're not nervous. So your feelings are very valid. Just pop down and just see what's going on. It's a good way to start your university journey and just get in the spirit of making friends and socializing. And there's so much fun stuff to do. So that could be a good starting point. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think I'll come to Becca on that and do a little segue there, because I suppose one of the things is if you like, the rules of the rules of talking to people are a bit different at this time of year, aren't they? I mean, I think when you start in university, it's okay to be stood next to a complete stranger and go, "Hello, my name is," and "What are you studying?" and all of that, and it just starts things off. I guess the rules of those interactions are a bit different at this time of year. So, Becca, maybe do you want to speak about that as you introduce yourself and what your part of the university does?
Hi everyone, I'm Becca Howard-Borrow. I'm the Deputy Head of Mental Health and Wellbeing Support here at Oxford Brookes. And that encompasses the chaplaincy, the counselling team, the mental health advice team, and our welfare team. So there is a lot of support here. If you're not quite sure which bit is right for you, just get in touch and we can point you in the right direction. We work with thousands of students every year. There isn't really another time in your life where you kind of potentially move city, go and live with strangers, completely change your job or how you're learning, all in one go. I mean, it's massive. And yet sometimes we sort of minimize it or gloss over it or say, oh, it's got to be really exciting, really brilliant all the time. Otherwise something's gone terribly wrong. And actually it's a huge range of changes. And also, as Kevin and Kofi said, you're meeting hundreds and hundreds of new people, and that it can be really quite tiring. You're kind of trying to make new friends, you're trying to find your village, and actually that takes a while. If we're really lucky, we meet some really good people early on, and I certainly hope all our new students do. But that sense of really feeling like you belong, feeling like you've got your gang takes a while, and there's no rush, and having some time where you're available, where you can meet some new people, but also realizing that there's lots and lots of change happening, and we've got to take a bit of time. You know, if there's a day where you think actually my social battery is a bit flat, it's fine. You know, having a night off or a day away from all the action will not mean that you're, you know, left with no one to talk with. It's about just you know, exploring this new space, meeting some new people in whatever way works for you. There is no right way to do induction or freshers or being a student in general. We've got a huge variety of kind of not just subjects, but personalities, experiences, relating styles. So, but also a huge amount of support available.
Thank you. And the other thing that I guess particularly this week that people might be thinking about is your move. A lot of people are moving into accommodation, and with perfect timing, Raffles put his camera on because we're going to talk to. Do you want to introduce yourself as the whole warden team and what you do?
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for hosting this meeting. Yes, hello, my name is Rafał Klos, and during the day, I'm student support services front desk administrator. So basically a receptionist for Kate's and Rebecca's teams, for example. But in the evening, I put my residential warden costume, let's say, and there's around 30, more than 30 of us, residential wardens, based at all the Brookes halls of residence, every student village, I would say. The purpose of having residential wardens is to provide out-of-hour service. So usually we are on call after 6 p.m. And I think I can referring to what has been said already. We have duty of care and we want to provide, make sure that there is someone to listen to or someone that people can reach out to in case of anything, basically, because we are first aiders, trained first aiders, also mental health first aiders. And I think Kate mentioned that people may want to talk due to, I don't know, flatmates not cleaning after themselves or stealing food, but also the major life events like bereavement. So the point of having wardens is that there's always someone on site that you can have a chat with, you can call, we can like meet you, listen, and then signpost, so link you with more professional Brookes services. So usually student support services teams. Here as a warden, I'm part of residence life team, so part of estates and campus services department, directorate. So I feel like I want to mention few things, how the team make sure that there are some social events and that they help to tackle homesick experience. So as far as I'm concerned, this year when people are moving into their accommodation, probably the teams will be handing leaflets with all the freshers events. You will get them with your key. Moreover, the events that Residence Life team hosts every year. So there are some social events like trip to one of the theme parks in England, Blenheim Palace Christmas event. Last year there were a few movie nights, crafts, I believe, session, as far as I remember. And during exams period, the team always hosts, there was therapy dogs event. Now there is puppy yogas event.
Quite a lot there. Puppy yoga, tremendous. Let's just go back, because the interesting thing here is people's actual experiences of moving into accommodation. So I want to come back to Miranda and Piyush at this point about how was it for you, in no particular, whoever wants to speak first, how was it for you moving into university accommodation? What was good about it, and maybe what were the challenges, and how did you overcome them?
So basically I lived in two accommodations last year. So first I lived in Cheney and I had some problems with my flatmates because they were very noisy. So I actually talked to Rafal about it and he helped me move accommodation. So I ended up in Warford and there the flatmates were very nice and quiet. So thanks to the warden team and also the student report investigation team, I was able to have a smooth transition and now I'm living with friends in a house. That's good.
Yeah, there's an important point there, isn't there, about how thank you for that and for sharing that how not every, which has already been said, I think, by a few people, but we don't always get off to the perfect start, but there are support mechanisms in place so that you can get help where you need it. So you had that start. I mean, people have different lifestyle expectations, don't they? And some people are kind of noisier than others, but you wanted a quieter place, and fortunately that worked out.
I actually got pretty lucky with my flatmates. So I had like we had a bond with my flatmates, so we used to like go out every day, every week, and then there's only one concerning thing. So we had one flatmate. So he used to destroy our kitchen, and then he was the one that the next day he cleaned the kitchen spotless, even better than the cleaner that we were assigned. So
So
it's better to
yeah.
establish personal boundaries with your flatmates so that they at least have a sense of being like, okay, so he does not like this, so I shouldn't be doing this, rather than you going and telling other flatmates like behind his back.
Mm.
So it's the best to just let him know and then establish personal boundaries.
That's an interesting thing, though, isn't it? It's kind of setting the ground rules. How we're gonna work this. How we're gonna make it work. And sometimes people think, oh, we'll be fine. And it is. You're right. It's better to have the conversation.
Don't be afraid if like you have a bit of different interests. That could actually be a way to like get to know them because my first flatmates they were big Love Islanders and I was just wondering what is this stuff. But it was a good way of bonding because we kind of got into it and then would actually schedule a time like at 6 o'clock to meet in their like communal room and actually like discuss before we watch. So it's a good way um to get to know your flatmates. And in terms of dishes, at some point, you will always have an argument over dishes. So just try and put your foot down in a nice way. That's what I say.
I find that it helps in like the first week, when everyone's like just moved in and everyone's like kind of all friendly with each other at that stage, to kind of set out not like rules because that's just boring, but like a rota of who's going to take out the bins and things. It helps to get a head start on like the schedule of that before these things actually happen, and then that way it kind of avoids having problems when that occurs. I think I had that problem in my first year flat where we didn't really sort through any of the, who's going to be cleaning the surfaces this week, who's going to be taking out the bins this week. We didn't do any of that, so it caused a lot of tension in the flat. But for my second year flat, because I stayed in accommodation for all 3 years, for my second year flat, we sat down at the start and sectioned it out, and it was so much easier. And then when we realized that, oh, this wasn't getting done, we knew kind of who to talk to about it on their own instead of calling a big flat meeting and being like, oh, who didn't do this or who didn't do that. It's a better way to kind of ease tensions that might arise.
The other thing I would add is if you need your housemates to know that you have a special diet, and I'm vegetarian and somebody cooked bacon in my pan in week 1 and I don't think I've ever forgiven them, but if you're vegetarian, if you can't eat something, you have an allergy, especially an airborne allergy, it really is fine to let people know. And as Kaz and Piyush have said, don't rely on WhatsApp groups and leaving notes in the kitchen because that gets people cross quite quickly. But as you introduce yourself, by the way, my pans look like this and I really need other people not to borrow them, and this is why. I'm not being selfish, this is just my need. Or I always have dairy-free milk. If you need some as well, please just replenish it, but there's always going to be some in my bit of the fridge. Whether you like to approach it with a boundary or an invitation is up to you. That's a personality choice, but it's important that people do understand, because when they've only ever shared homes with their family, I think there's an assumption that if something's out, it's yours to use, and it's important to let people know if that's not right for you for some reason.
I want to bring Becca in again now at this point, and just to tell us a little bit about the sorts of things that can cause anxiety for new students, and maybe what sort of support is available to help them.
As I say, it's a time of enormous change and lots and lots of new things, new people, new buildings, new spaces. So it can feel quite overwhelming. It's a lot of change at once. And while that's really normal, it can, it can be very stressful. There's, as I said at the start, there's a huge amount of support in place. So if you have a diagnosis, either a specific learning issue or a physical or mental health need, it's really important to register with our inclusive support service, who will be able to get something called an ISP, an individual support plan, put in place, which can involve all kinds of adjustments to make sure that you can really thrive here and remove any barriers to you succeeding. We've got a counselling service which offers up to 6 sessions of completely free, confidential therapy to all students. We deliver that online or in person, and you don't have to have all 6 at once. In fact, most people don't. You can have a couple of sessions, try some things out, link up with some other resources or services. We have our welfare team, so if there is a big emergency, you can see somebody very, very quickly and talk that through. And they're also can signpost to other bits of the university like financial aid or ISAT if you're an international student. That's the International Student Advice Team. So if in doubt, just get in touch with us is the short answer. Kate's team offers lots of lovely groups and pastoral support, and in a more kind of ongoing way for some students. The mental health advice team is there for students with diagnosed mental health conditions to help you talk through what adjustments you need and what additional support you might need, or linking you in with the NHS. So really, it's like a great big safety net. That's how I often think about it. And we're all linked up. We all do slightly different. We've got a slightly different focus to our work, but we all work very closely together and can get you to the right place. And even if you only need to pop in once and have a chat just to find out about what we've got here. And even if you're not quite sure, well, which bit of this big safety net is going to be most useful for you, just come in and have a chat and we'll get you to the right place.
Once you're an enrolled student, there's also a really excellent service called Together All, which is much more interactive self-help. So a lot of the resources on our website are worksheets and guided meditations, but Together All has things like courses that are built on recognised and clinically researched therapeutic self-help techniques that you can do, which is anything from, I think there's still one on imposter syndrome, there's been one on grief, there's some on managing low mood and anxiety, and that's the university funds it. So you sign up using your student address so that they know that you have a right to use the service for free. But other than that, unless one of the staff who moderates the site thinks you're at very, very serious risk, there's no reason anyone in the university would ever know you were using it. I mean, I missed my freshers fair because I did an archaeology degree and we were off in a field learning how to make flint knives, which was safe. But I still was able to get involved in loads of societies, is the first thing. But the student union was actually the highlight of my university career. And it was 20 years ago now, but don't tell anybody. But student unions are fundamentally, they're groups of students around shared interests. And if you find that you feel a bit alone, I turned out to be the only one on my degree course, and my accommodation wasn't organised into corridors the way that others are. And so I sometimes felt quite alone. But the student union was where I found my people. And I don't think we've said this so much yet, but if you felt a bit isolated at school, I didn't know I had ADHD. I did know I was queer, and those things were hard at school, but they were easier at university. And I was able to be myself in quite a structured environment within the SU in a way that was quite different to my studies.
All right, this is definitely in my like remit. So I think currently we have almost 100 societies at Brookes. They're separated into different categories. So we've got educational ones, like law society, business, things that kind of are to do with your course. We've got hobbies and crafts. So those will kind of be like board games, dancing, things like that. And then we've got cultural societies, which are where like we kind of like try to, these are kind of our liberation groups. So we've got like the ACS, we've got like the Nepalese Society, things like that. So people from those specific cultural backgrounds can like find like a community as well within Brookes. And then we also have sports. I think we have like outdoor society, pole fitness, the dance groups, but these sports ones within the student union aren't to be confused with like the Brookes sport societies. Those are completely separate. So yeah, all our societies kind of fall under the student union, and you can join as many societies as you want. A lot of societies will have membership fees to join, but we do offer these things with a lot of the societies called Give It a Go sessions, where you can go to like a first session for free to see if you like it, like what it's about, and then you can kind of decide to get a membership. There are different kinds of memberships. There's semester memberships. So, you know, if there's January intake students, for example, they can start in the second semester, or the people finishing in December, they can take it for the first semester, or there's like the year-long ones. We don't currently offer, you know, like as long as the course that you're on. We don't offer memberships for that amount of time, because things could change between those times and it makes it a bit complicated. But we do have yearly ones, and yeah, I think societies are a great way for students to like find people that are interested in the same thing as them, find people on the same course as them that they might not like have chances to interact with within their lectures. Just kind of get involved in things that they are interesting to them, and still meet people that are also interested in the same things. I think most of the friends that I made from uni were from the societies that I joined, and they are like long-lasting friendships. I do completely recommend at least joining one society. Just a small thing is just be careful with the amount you pick up, because honestly, picking up too many, you're just like, oh, I thought I would have the time to do all of this, and
Yeah.
Try meet everyone, because you honestly, it's a mixed bag. You know, you could meet depending on what you're looking for, you're going to meet all varieties of people, and people from different cultures, and all of that, and they could really shape your university career. So I know you're probably going to be shy, but just a simple hello, or just oh, hi, I don't know what I'm doing. I promise you, 90% of people won't know what they're doing either. So it's a tried and tested conversation starter. Um,
Definitely works.
yeah, trust me.
Definitely works.
So just you know, according to how comfortable you are, just try and put yourself out there and just try to talk to people and get to know people. It will help you out so much.
Try not to keep your worries to yourself. I'm building really on what Kofi just said, but the staff are all here to help you. And if the first person you ask doesn't know the answer, they will hopefully either know who to ask or who to send you to. So ask somebody. I don't know anything about module registration, but I know that you can talk to a student support coordinator or the registry about it. So if you ask me, you won't get the answer within 5 minutes, but probably you'll get it within a couple of days. It's better to ask somebody than nobody. Always tell somebody if things are difficult. Even if you're thinking that you might want to leave, don't think we're going to shame you. We're not. Anything that you need to ask, you can come and ask student support, and we will do our best to find you a sensible answer that helps you to feel safe and contained, and to do whatever it is you need to do well.
Don't delay your assignments till the last day.
That's wise.
Because
Those are wise words.
I've been in uni till like 4 a.m. finishing the assignment that's due the next day. So it's better to plan it out rather than stressing over the last day. Yeah.
Absolutely. Organizing your time is really important, especially these days. So many people have jobs as well when they're at university. So that requires more planning to get it done, doesn't it?
I think also enjoy not knowing, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but you've come here because you want to learn stuff. So often people will get really stressed because they'll go to a few lectures and go, oh, I didn't understand absolutely all of that, and I didn't get all of it. And why on earth would you spend 3 years and all of this money learning stuff you knew already? We'd sometimes talk about a growth mindset, and it's really helpful to think, I don't know yet, but how exciting to have this opportunity and to be in this place where I'm going to find out. And that can be about, you know, your subject. It can be about challenges you haven't faced yet, or societies you haven't joined yet. I don't know yet, but I'm excited to find out. And that kind of links with Kevin's point about curiosity. And practice a bit of self-compassion as well. It's very easy to get into a really critical, everybody else is having a brilliant time, everybody else has made best friends for life, everybody else understood every word of that lecture and is going to write their assignment in 5 minutes. It's not true. It makes you feel rubbish. Be kind to yourself. Do this your way. You have earned your place. Take it up. Don't make yourself small. You know, it's a huge achievement to get to university, and it's not a prison sentence. It's not
Definitely
3 years
isn't.
hard labour. It's it should be a place where you learn about the subject, you learn about yourself, you learn about what you want to do next with your life. So that would be my advice, and definitely be curious and enjoy not knowing and being in a place which is completely set up to help you find out whatever it is you don't know yet.
I think kind of following on of a lot of points here, no question is a stupid question. If you have a question to ask, most likely someone else is going to want to ask that question as well, even though in your mind it seems like a question that everyone should know. Not everyone's going to know it, and it's okay to ask questions when you don't know the answer. I think that's a main thing that I liked, just asking questions when you don't know, instead of just kind of hoping that you'll understand eventually. Just ask.
There's a certain self-confidence about that as well, isn't there? I think sometimes because we talk a lot about independent learning has been a big thing in university, people don't realize that independent learning actually means a certain level of interdependence, because independent learning requires people to develop the confidence to ask questions, which is then leaning on other people, if you like. But it's an important skill to have. So thank you for that. And finally, last word goes to Miranda.
I think my top advice would be to not be scared to put yourself out there. In uni, there are many opportunities for many things, jobs, internships, volunteering. And even if you don't have experience or you think that you don't qualify, I think it's important to give it a try. And who knows where you end up? I ended up with 3 jobs. So don't be afraid to try new things.